Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to the second Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. On the left we have Xbox Series X, on the right we have Xbox One. We're doing a comparison between the two. These videos are a ton of work to put together, so liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well. So let's talk a bit about the two, kind of in details, what they have, what they offer, what the differences are. So strangely, there's actually like a coloring difference, and I don't know if that's just because the scenarios are different every time, but you will notice the Xbox One is missing certain things within the environment, certain lighting effects, and certain atmospheric effects as well, especially as we do a bit of cut-ins and stuff to show off some of the differing levels. So with the Series X version, we're getting a dynamic 4K 60 FPS. There is, with that dynamic stuff, some scaling technologies used, and then with the Xbox One version, it is dynamic again, but it's like a 900p threshold at 60 FPS some of the time when it can reach that certain point. But it is neat to continue these comparisons every so often between the Call of Duty games, because they do tend to give you the same full scale between the two differing versions. It's just interesting to see where the cutbacks are, where the resolution changes are, and just the technology kind of making these still work. It is amazing that the Xbox One still handles these games as well as they do, or maybe these older consoles are holding back the newer consoles from hitting their full potential. It's just something that always happens with cross-gen stuff and the Call of Duty franchise in general. So this level here is a bit more of a noticeable kind of comparison between the two, because in the previous one, some objects, a little bit of like the coloring in regards to like some of the vehicles and stuff are different, but here you can actually see the difference in the effects of the world and the loading and the textures. That seems to be a really big holdback for Xbox One, aside from resolution, is the fact that a lot of the textures take a lot longer to load in, and you're also missing things such as atmospheric effects. And this is a good showcase of the open world areas, because that first area, which we'll actually go back to later on because it's so well cinematically set up between the two, these are the open world segments, which are basically Warzone maps that have been carved out and used as campaign levels, which I don't love, but they do kind of give you a different style of play, and you can tell like basically the fog and whatever, not there at all. When we get down to the ground, literally the texturing of the floor is missing entirely on the Xbox One there. I don't know if it's just not loading in perfectly fast or what. I actually rebooted it a few times, but yeah, the floor texturing is just not there. And I played through the level too to do a separate video, and it just never really does show up, which I think is a bit wild. This is the opening area here, so you do notice, I think, lighting-wise, it is, in my opinion, better lit on the Series X, so you do get to see a bit more of the texturing coming through. But honestly, as an opening area, this one is, I would say, the closest in terms of being similar, if that makes sense. The darkness does hide a lot of the imperfections a lot better for this particular scenario. And it's a good little opening piece that kind of sets the stage for the campaign, which, definitely I have interesting thoughts on the story and the campaign itself, but we are just doing, a visual kind of comparison here just so you can see the two of them in action. The Xbox One version also does suffer from the occasional like sort of almost stutter and or like slow down, and there's just kind of a host of technical things. So here's when we go back to the stadium. So this one is a little harder to line up because of the crowds, and the crowd density does seem to be pretty good on both sides, just in regards to the kind of citizens, the innocent people running around trying to evade. But you can see, like, literally that was just a slowdown, nothing to do with recording. This is just the game on the right there basically just stopping for a second. So that is a bit of an issue. And it is like you do get a better sense of detail and scale with the Series X version. Like, you can actually see a little bit more off into the distance if you need to, and just the visual fidelity is a lot higher. And it's also a lot more noticeable once we get into this store here. You can actually see a lot more detail on clothing, and there's some like soccer/football balls that you kind of go by in a sec here, and you can just see like a much more increased level of fidelity and detail. And there's jaggedy lines around the Xbox One version for a lot of things that do appear to be a lot sharper, like smaller metal like objects and outlines and fences and stuff. And this part is hilarious. So some of the people, and I don't know if you're noticing this, you may actually have to go back and pause as you see them run towards you. They're missing their hands and like parts of their arms, and it's not in the sense of like, you know, gore or anything like that. It's literally like it's just not rendering until they get right beside your character. They're just missing, like it's just not loading is the thing, which I think is quite comical to say the least. It's definitely intriguing. And then here, this area, you're going to notice a lot more of the shimmering effect. And you know, Series X does have scaling stuff and scaling artifacts that you definitely do notice when you're playing, but they are not as prevalent as they are on the Xbox One version. It's kind of wild. But yeah, pretty cool showcase, I think. I'm just going to leave the rest for no commentary gameplay, so you can just kind of see them kind of, you know, going up against each other. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, liking the video is great. Subscribing is great as well, and it's really neat to see the Call of Duty games kind of going up against each other, as this is, you know, a huge entry within the franchise.
You broken? Just a plate.
Check it. They had explosives. This was the next target.
Gold Eagle actual. Explosives located in the VIP area. No sign of Makarov.
Copy. Make it safe. Locals set up a cordon so Makarov will have to exfil fast. We're 5 mics out. Don't let him escape, son.
Roger that.
The garage.
Affirm. Secure the explosives, then get to the secondary exfil.
Copy.
Here, we'll use a lift. Pull. Eyes peeled for Makarov. Check fire. That's a civilian. Get to safety. Go. Vehicle incoming. Get to cover. It could be Makarov. Step out of the vehicle. Out of the vehicle now. It's down. Move to secure. Hold it at the ambulance. Hands! Hands! Kazuruki! Bleeding Jesus. It's him. Vladimir Makarov, get out of the vehicle now. Nice and easy. That's far enough. Now don't fucking move. Search him.
You scared, Captain?